Good morning. Welcome to Relaxing Painting. I'm Nichole, obviously, filling in for Greg again. It's not Sub Wednesday. So, today we are doing some more demons. Fiends, as you will. I'm filling in for Greg once again. He will be back later today, actually, as of the time. Yes, we will do a flip. There we go. He'll be back later today, so we'll be back on track for Sub Wednesday, which is great. Everyone loves Sub Wednesday. So, we're just gonna do a little fill-in episode. I've been doing some periodically doing some demons. I started with our little imp here, and we did our Galbrazu the other day. Our Crimson Clapper. And today we'll be doing this guy. I think it's a Vrock, but it might be, the model might actually be called Pazuzu. Honestly, I forget, but it's some sort of bird demon. It might be a Vrock. And he's gonna be sort of a blue color, primarily. Sort of a blue-gray. Is he friend? No one's friends with Crimson Clapper. So, we're gonna jump into it, but he has like a skull for a head. Just a skull, exposed skull, so that'll be sort of bone white along with his claws. But then he's sort of furry and feathery. You have a skull for a head too. He has no skin on this skull though. So I'm planning to do it in blue and then do a black wash on it to make it dark. So we have a couple varieties, of blue that we're probably going to use here. I pulled out flat blue, royal blue, ultramarine blue, and azure for some highlights. And then we're also going to be using this bone white for some of the skull and claw elements. And I'll probably work in a little black as well, for some detail. So what I'm going to do, to start with the base coat, I'm going to start with sort of one of my more mid-range blues, I think, and save my very light and very dark blue. Is this guy Crimson Skull? Not a common thing. No, it's just gonna be regular skull. Bird skull. I'm gonna take the royal blue actually for my base coat. That's my plan. Grab some paper towel for drying and cleaning brushes. I'm gonna take a relatively large size brush because we just need surface area right now. And this will all be grayed down when I use a black wash over the top of it. And then we'll bring highlight back over that. But for now, I just need the surface area covered. Because he's got big old wings. Is he friends with a flying pig? Yeah. Everyone's friends with a flying pig. Porco Rosso is a very fun movie. Yeah, I should pick up the tickets for Spirited Away because Lexi loves that movie. So I'm gonna do the underside of the wings and sort of under the belly here in the darker blue. A very anti-fascist movie for a movie that barely talks about fascism. Yeah, that's true. I said the least antagonistic villains of any Miyazaki movies you've seen. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Miyazaki specifically. Because I'm thinking some of them have don't really even have villains, but I don't know if they had pirates, but they're pretty chill pirates, yeah. Some of them don't, some Ghibli movies don't really have a villain per se, but I'm not sure offhand if those were Miyazaki movies. Not like Nausicaa, which has like, or not Nausicaa, it's not like Castle in the Sky, which has a very clear villain, for example. Ponyo? Ponyo doesn't really have a villain at all. I don't know if you've seen Ponyo. Most of them are very nuanced, even the one that shoots God in the neck to steal his head. Well, it's not God, it's a God. Not, you know. It's just it's like the forest God. It was one of the top gods, that's true. Yeah, the god that really messes everything up. Like, I mean, when you get your head taken off, you kinda can lose control a little. I'd say as far as movies that Miyazaki specifically did, though, Ponyo is the least has a villain of them all. The Wind Rises in Porco Rosso. I know Miyazaki has a thing for flight, but we could have used a sea adventure like, yeah, I mean, Ponyo is a good sea adventure. And there is still sort of some flying in Ponyo. He put some flying in all of his movies. Yeah, so yeah, Porco Rosso is a flying and sea adventure, so yeah, you kinda answered your own statement there, huh? Seaplanes. They're not I mean, they are cheating. They hack the system. They didn't even do a crossover with Tailspin. I mean, yeah, that's just waiting to happen, isn't it? Like, seaplanes, anthropomorphic animals. It's just right there. Both made in, I want to say, the 90s. I don't actually know when Porco Rosso was made offhand. Truly, that was the... We could throw some reference in. We kind of got a reboot of Tailspin. Did they do a reboot-ish thing of Tailspin? Just have, like, a Porco Rosso looking pig guy sitting in the background. As like a little homage. Oh, welcome back, Leftwist. Oh, I hope they helped. Yeah. Isn't the DuckTales reboot the rumors of a Tailspin reboot for Disney Plus? Gotcha. Oh, good. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the big thing is to just keep painting and just practice, but it helps to have, like, different types of brushes and stuff. I'm just getting the base coat in on our... I want to say a Vrock. It's the type of D&D demon, but I there's a lot of them, and they have very weird names, so I might be wrong on that. So our basic process for this guy is I'm putting on an undercoat of the colors I want. In this case, they're going to be sort of blue, obviously. Then we're gonna put a black wash over pretty much the whole thing. And then we'll bring some highlights back on top, so we'll build a dark, a medium, and a light coloration. That sort of gives it some depth. Is the basic process we'll be doing. For this fellow. So I've done sort of a medium blue. You highlighted your message. Oh, because we're putting highlights on top. Very funny. Thank you. We've done sort of this medium blue for the bulk of the body. I'm gonna take my ultramarine blue, which is a darker one, for the belly and underside of the wings. And I'm gonna do some highlighting in this, which might get in this azure, which is a very light blue, which I'm hoping to achieve sort of a semi-ethereal look with it. We'll see how it goes when all is said and done. Just drop my brush. That's always an important process. It's part of it. So the difference between that blue and the ultramarine blue is gonna be fairly subtle. But I'm hoping. And one thing I can do if I feel like he's too blue by the end of everything is I can do some of the highlighting with a different color to sort of bring things out. But he's pretty much... A lot of these demons are pretty much a single color. Why can't you highlight in different colors? I don't know if that's a thing Twitch does. I have no idea. It's been a long time since we set up any of the Twitch functionality, so I don't know what all the mechanics are, quite honestly. So this section goes pretty quick, the base coating, when you're not dealing with like elves wearing armor and having swords, so you don't need to do a whole bunch of different colors. In those cases, the base coating can take some time, but this is just like a naked bird guy. So getting the base coat in is pretty straightforward. The longer part will be some of the details once I get the wash on and try and get him looking ethereal. We'll see. Where that gets us. Now you want to see us put together the Porco Rosso plane? We do have that somewhere. We have the Porco Rosso plane model. I don't know quite where it is, but we have it somewhere down here. Well, when the submarine is done, you can petition Greg to do that next. I frequent Flyer Mom, or H, I guess. So, I'm gonna just drop the mini. There we go. Nausicaa flying machine. Quick dumb question, because I forgot. Which colors do I combine to get purple? Purple is blue and red mixed together. And the normal color wheel. Yeah, of course. Yellow and red gets you green. Or orange, sorry, blue. And blue and yellow gets you green. So gonna make sure I get coverage here. So what we have is a very, very blue bird right now. Well, so when I say normal color, all of the way colors combine in computer printers is slightly different, I believe. So it's like for paint, blue and red makes purple. We need more bluebirds. One of them was just put down. Oh, haha, you're making a Twitter joke. Got it. That's true. It is called that. I've stopped using it, so I don't really... You have to cross your arms when you say it to make sure you know it's cool. So I'm gonna be putting in the skull and claws here. At least the base coat for them. The skull has some detail to it that we'll get into later. This is just gonna steal. Is this thing just gonna steal 9s? Yeah, just swoop down, grab 9s out of the sky. I think it does have a tongue I'll need to paint on. Oh, thank you, frequent flyer mom. There is a tongue in this skull, so I'll need to paint that. But first things first, I'll just get the base coat in. Thing sort of has like a Skeksis vibe. We need your hot take on Charles Martinet no longer voicing Mario. Is he no longer voicing Mario for like anything anymore? Is he retiring? Is that something? Retiring from doing the Mario voice. He is a Mario ambassador now, whatever that means. I think that means he's grandfathered in because he did Mario's voice for so long. So that he's like probably legally allowed to do Mario's voice for like random projects. Since '94, Mario teaches typing. Well, I'll have you know I haven't played a Mario game in earnest since Super Mario Brothers on the Game Boy. You're painting right now too. You have a minifig that's doing a spell, and you're applying the brush on primer shredded. Okay, so it's one of those sort of transparent plastic. I'd say probably. So if you want that to keep that sort of transparency, I wouldn't prime it. I don't have too much experience painting those, but what I would probably do. So I don't know exactly what the spell is, but let's say you're shooting like a flame bolt, just for sake of ease. If you want to keep that transparent sort of vibe, instead of putting primer on it, what I do is when you're doing the painting, say if it's fire, take like some yellows and reds and just thin them down with water a lot, so they're very, very thin, and then just apply thin layers over it, and it should keep the transparent look, while also adding tinges of that color. It won't adhere quite as well without the primer, but that's okay if you're looking to maintain. So let's say they're casting Big B's hand or Mage Hand and you want it to be purple. You take your purple and just make it very, very, very thin by adding a lot of water and create basically a wash. And then you just apply that over the transparent plastic, and it should just tinge it purple without covering up the transparent look. That would be my... But if you put a primer over it, will lose that transparency. Now if you don't want the transparency, which is also a way you can go, then you can cover it with primer, but given that it's a spell effect, that might be something you want to keep. But yes, I haven't played a Mario game in earnest since here I can give an example. Let me grab something I can use as an example. See what would be good here. And I can paint on. Not care too much about it. I should have some paper laying about that'll work. Is that some over there? Okay. So, what I have here is, here I'll use this ultramarine blue that I painted the guy in. If I just take the paint as it is out of the bottle and spread it on the card here, it comes in quite thick, it'll cover up the paper completely underneath. But then if I take that same blue and put just a little bit in, and since these are acrylics, they're called a water-based paint. And what that means is it's the pigment of the paint is suspended in a water, as a way of creating that viscosity, creating the spreadability. And if you have like an eyedropper or something, makes this easier. But if I add water to the paint like this, it will spread that pigment that's suspended in the paint. So the paint is just a pigment plus water, effectively. It has some binders and stuff to keep it cohesive, but ultimately it is a pigment, which are tiny little flakes of color suspended in water. So when I say thinning, I'm adding more water to the paint here, so that there's less pigment per, like, the ratio of water to pigment is more in the favor of water. So in this case, there's less blue color than there is water. So what that should give me is a much wetter paint, and it applies much more. So this is the paint when it had no extra water added in it. This is the paint with water in it. You can see it's much lighter because a lot more of the paper, the white paper, is showing through. The blue pigment isn't covering the white of the paper as much. And, you know, you can keep going with that, keep adding water to get it where you want. And you just mix it up, and it creates a very thin paint that shows what's underneath it much better. So it's sort of like yeah, so I would do, and if you're worried about like covering up the transparent underside, I would do mostly water and then just put tiny bit of paint in it, and just so you can build up those layers. So let's say this blue is not as blue as I want it to be, but I don't want it this blue. I can, after this has dried a little, I can take that same exact thinned paint and apply a new layer over the top, and it'll make it darker. And you can build up those layers. So if you're worried about covering something too much, you can actually take a very, very thin paint and do layers on top of each other to get to the color you want. But if you have a paint that's this thin, if you have something transparent underneath, let me see. We have, so we have this like cup. I don't know how well this will do, but as you can see, this isn't model plastic. By thinning this paint, it shows it shows through. It's colored it blue, whereas if I did the basic paint, it pretty much just paints it over. So you can make something transparent that's colored in a certain way, like that, and still be transparent underneath. But if you do just the paint without thinning it, it's just gonna cover it and it'll just turn it blue in this case. So if you have some magic effect that's done in a clear, transparent plastic and you want it tinted purple without painting it just full purple, you can make a very thin, watered down purple and apply it, and you'll get this sort of tinting effect. Yeah, cool. I don't personally have a ton of experience doing that. We have a resin printer, but we don't usually print in transparents. But if I were to do like ghosts or something, that might be a fun way to do it, is take transparent resin, which exists, and make like a figure that's all transparent and then tint it colors like that. So it might be something we get into at some point. I hope that helps. Yeah. Just noticing a couple spots I missed with the base coat, so I'm gonna quickly get those covered. It could also be I didn't get enough primer on these sections, so it didn't adhere as well as it could have. I'm fully willing to admit I was running out of primer in the can as I was doing this, so I did a spray-on primer, but it was sort of at the end of its functional use. But I don't think this guy got as primed as could have. Okay. Put that back. And I was doing claws and nails, I believe. Have little claws on the ends of the hand, and we'll do probably red on the eyeballs for this guy. Glowing red eye sort of effect once we're all said and done on the wash and everything. And at this stage I can afford to be quite messy because things like the base here are getting painted over, so it doesn't matter particularly if I get some paint on the base. He also has little back claws on his feet here. In the 3 minifigs you've done so far, you don't even try to color the eyes. Yeah. Well, you mean, doing the eyes requires like an extremely fine brush and a lot of patience. And there's nothing wrong with just leaving the eyes more like of an abstract thing where maybe it's just a little darker there, you know, you're like, or if you don't need them at all. Like, honestly, when you're looking at minifigures, most of the time they're, you know, multiple feet away from you. Your eyes can't even make out that detail. So a very well painted close-up eye will look great on a close-up picture, but you're generally not gonna care too much in a D&D game where you're moving the piece around on a map in the middle of the table. So I don't think eyes are particularly worth stressing out about, unless you're doing like a minifigure painting competition or something like that. So I have basically just blue and some bone on this guy, but we will be doing more interesting colors on him after I put a wash on him. The one thing I'm gonna do before I do the wash is the tongue, and for that I want my, there it is, red, scarlet red in this case. And luckily with demons I can get away with, like, here's a glowing yellow eye or a glowing red eye or whatever. It's not really, I don't need like to try and emulate anything like a pupil. Focusing in for a second when I get, yeah, that's okay, that tongue. Not that. See, again, it's a little too far for everyone to see. But yeah, this little red tongue. Alright, so what we're gonna do is give this guy a wash, cover his whole body pretty much in the, I'll probably do black wash, assuming I can locate it. I have dark gray. Dark gray will work. If I can't locate, here it is, the black wash. And really what wash is just, it's kind of what I did here with the blue, thinning it out. It's just, it's usually done in a paint thinner rather than water. But it's just a very thinned paint, in this case black. And giving it a good shake. Now, this is not a necessity. It's always good to shake up your paints to get the pigment that might have settled at the bottom remixed in. I have like a fancy vibrating shaker, but there's nothing wrong with just shaking by hand. And this is making that noise because there's a little ball bearing in it to help agitate it and break up the pigment more. They're just sort of nice things to have, but not necessary for starting out painting. Okay, so I'm going to take a biggish brush here, and we're going to, I guess, start with the wing. I probably I don't want to go too overboard on my wash. But I do want to bring out all of the texture on this figure. So, oh yeah, you have a green swampy looking wash. So like, I don't know how well this color is gonna show on the camera, but this is a green wash, a dark green wash. That's you can see it's sort of swampy, dark, and whatnot. You didn't understand what it was, so you didn't even open it. Yeah, a wash is just a very thin paint. So when I apply this black wash over the top of the blue I painted, it's not only is it gonna darken everything down, in this case make it more black because I'm using a black wash, but it also has a tendency to sink into lower points on the figure and be thinner on higher points. So if there's a bump on a wing like that, the wash will go into that valley, and these higher points will have less wash on them, so they'll be lighter and darker down below. And that creates sort of a sense of depth on the figure. And because it's such a thin paint, it's very loose on the surface, so you have to be a little careful applying it. In the case of this guy, I'm pretty much just going to cover him all in black wash, because I'm going to be going over the top again with some highlight colors, and I want this to be the darkest parts of the figure, which we'll get to in a little bit after I wash it and it dries a little. But you can see how much it darkens down that wing from here to here, and it will lighten up and become not shiny as it dries, but not a ton. It won't lighten up a ton. And if you want this similar effect but are afraid of getting it too dark, they make like dark gray and gray washes, and blue and brown, and there's pretty much any color. The two most common ones, though, are called black and umber, which is a brown wash. Umber is just a fancy painting word for brown, pretty much. Some other tricks with wash is, let's say you put some wash down and you got too much in an area, you can actually dry your brush off quite a bit by just rubbing it on some paper towel, and your brush will actually absorb some of the wash back into it. It'll suck it back up, so you can it won't get all of it, but you can reduce the amount while it's still wet by pulling it back up into a dry brush. And since it's so loose, it will move around with gravity, so you have to be a little aware of how you're positioning your figure as you go. So it's a little big to use on this figure, but another thing you can look into getting, you don't have to get one like this. This is a painting handle, and it has some sticky tack so that you can, sometimes your hand might get a little sore holding a figure, and this is a way to give you a bigger grip while you're painting. You can buy painting handles like this, and they, vary in cost, but some things I've seen people do is take like old paint bottles and just put sticky tack on top, and now you have a handle. I've seen people use corks. I've seen people use the caps from like Coca-Cola bottles and stuff. So if you find your hand starting to cramp holding your figure, just getting some sticky tack and making even an impromptu handle might help with that. I'm not using it on this guy because he's a little large, but when I did do like humanoid figures, I'll almost always use it. So I just want to get this whole figure darkened in. And I'm going fairly quick. There's no reason one would need to go this quick other than, I know what I want to do here, and I'm doing an entertainment show. What is leading to a little splashing you can see on my fingers here. You regret not getting a Costco hot dog? Yeah, you really messed up, huh? Now, I'm definitely using more wash and making it darker than I would generally recommend. What you can do in your washing is you get some on your brush and then you can dab it off onto a paper towel, and now you won't be hit with quite so much on your figure. But because this is a demon and I want the undercoat here to look really dark, I'm being a little more heavy with my wash than I might normally be. So this is sort of a special case. Washes can be a good way if you have like a metal painted thing, like let's say you painted something in silver. If you took an umber brown wash, you could give it sort of a rusty patina, a rusty look over the top of it. Things like that. So, I don't know how well we can see, but the wash on this wing, for example, is going down into the cracks and crevices in between the wings, and that sort of helps pull the shape visually out from the model. The lower points become darker and the higher points are relatively lighter. It will darken the whole model though, if you apply it like I am. Now, if you are wanting a dark figure, you know, you can be like, well, I've done the wash, and I'm gonna get for the head here. I am gonna wash it, but I am taking a lot less wash on my brush to do so, because I don't want it quite as dark as the other parts. And I am going to be lightening everything back up again. Okay, so what we have is a darkly washed rock demon thing. Is he related to Ridley from Metroid? I very well, maybe, yes. He's very Ridley-ish. So he's pretty much just this blue demon, bird demon guy, right? At this point, which is well and fine. But what we're gonna do is let this wash dry, and then we'll go through and highlight certain aspects of this figure to really bring out the shape and make it look cool. Like, I'm gonna take this very light blue and dry brush along the pinion feathers here to make them a lot lighter, for example. But to do that, I need this wash to dry. Distant cousins via marriage, exactly. Oh, welcome, Medicinal Shy Guy. Because this wash needs to dry before I can do any highlighting, I am going to be taking my break. I know you just showed up, Medicinal Shy Guy. Because I can't really do anything while he's all wet from the wash. So whenever Ridley visits, this guy wants to show him his amiibo collection. Is that what he's like? So we're gonna take a quick break, wait for this to dry a bit, and then I will do the fun, exciting highlighting parts and stuff like the little eye socket eyeballs on the bird skull here. So thanks for watching so far. We'll be back in a little bit. Yeah, see you all soon. Nope, we're back. There we go. So welcome back. I see we had a little Ridley discussion. So we're pretty dry. Honestly, I would prefer it if he was a little drier. Some of the wash in the crevices is still a little wet, but for the sake of this being a for the sake of not being too boring, and not, you know, being on break too long, thank you, we are going to press ahead, and hopefully the slight wash, it's mostly in the cracks and crevices. You can probably see a little bit of that reflectivity, that shininess. That's areas where it's still a little too it's not fully dry yet, but we're gonna push ahead and do some highlighting. The two colors we're really gonna highlight in are my ultramarine blue and this azure. And we're gonna pretty much do this with dry brushing so that it won't get on the lower parts. So to do this, I'm going to take a little bit of our ultramarine here. And I have this sort of stubby brush, mid-size brush. Just get a little on the end like that. And we're going to dab off most of it. And just, I probably dabbed off a little too much actually. But we're going to just get a little along the wing here to lighten it back up. We'll see how this goes. I might switch to the lighter azure pretty quick, but yeah, it's not showing too well. So what I'm going to do is use the azure, and we're going to sort of fade it in. Is our music not working? Yeah, the auto repeat stopped. There, it should be back. Okay. I don't know why it does that, it just does that. So, we're taking this much lighter blue, as you can see up here, and this will show a lot nicer. So starting from the outside and working our way in, we're just gonna kind of be light and streaky with this light blue. When you're doing dry brushing, you'll need to reload the brush fairly often. Now, it'll be fairly subtle, but if I can get an angle where it's not too shiny, you can see it's starting to lighten up. Especially off the tips of the wings here. And part of the problem I'm running into is that there's still some pockets of wet wash, so I have to be kind of cautious about those, or else it will mix into the paint. But for the sake of having an entertaining show, I'm trying to not take too long a break. Typically I would step away from this for like a couple hours, but that is not what we're doing today. So I'll just make it work. If I don't like it by the end, I will just paint over it again later. The one thing I'm sort of going for here is I'm painting the tips more opaquely to give it something to sort of fade into a color, the lighter color that it'll fade towards. And then with that, I can sort of gently fade it into the darker blue. I'm sort of going along the tips of the wing feather pinions here, pinion feathers. Then I'll just pull it in carefully, and yeah, see, that's the black wash that is not fully dry at play. Hold it up and sort of made a little bit of a mess. Move our camera down a little. Something sort of like that. So you have sort of this fade in that occurs. On the tips of the wings here. And I'm going more saturated on the very tips so that it gives it that light look. You can sort of see the difference in the wings with this lighter highlighting. One thing we might do is on the front edge of the wing here, also give it a little bit of lightning. Just a little. We're gonna want to do a very similar on the underside. So I'm gonna put some more thick of the azure blue on the tips of the wings, like so. We'll sort of gently pull that down. We're getting some mixing here because of the black wash that's still wet in there. It's actually mixing into the azure paint. And if that's something you want to control more, just wait for your wash to dry, unlike what I did. A little focus, sorry for the quiet. This is a Vrock. Sorry, I was focused in. So yes, this is a Vrock. It's a D&D demon creature, sort of a bird demon. And left with, if you mix paint with a wash, will the paint become a wash, or will the wash become a paint? It's sort of it depends on the proportions. So the more wash you put into the paint, the more really the distinction between paint and wash is just how thin is it. Oh, it killed one of your party members. Awesome. I mean, sorry. But yeah, I'd say paint and wash are effectively the same thing. It's just sort of terms to define how thick it is. So if it's sort of translucent, it's more of a wash, and if it's more opaque, you could probably consider it a paint. And rather than worrying too much about the terms, I would just worry about what works best for you. He tried to jump on it at 4 HP. Fall damage, I'm guessing. So I'm sort of tinging the tips blue, lighter blue here, and I did a little on the front edge. So we'll try and mimic this on the other wing. 1,000 feet to become a changeling suit. Nice. That that was a choice, jumping on a flying Vrock at 4 HP. Just gonna start pulling this lighter blue down onto the wing. So what I'm doing here is more dry brushing than washing. Jumping on a Vrock is either terrible role playing or your whole party's on vacation, so this is the closest thing to D&D you have for now. Well, as a little self-promotion on our channel, we do a D&D show as well. All the episodes are up on our YouTube channel. I play a changeling in that, actually. A changeling druid. Seeing how our party was retreating, I don't think it was perfect RP. I mean, maybe if they're a raging barbarian. But, yeah. Otherwise, probably not. Rogue Warlock. Yeah. Maybe they just really... Their patron told them, you gotta kill that Vrock. Or something. Or they just really wanted to kill it. And that was the rogue coming out. Yeah, we know people like that. I want to roll a new character, so I'll do something stupid. Don't, you know. Usually they do work with the DM to have the character disappear, though. And or die. Adventurers don't just retire, you know? Some adventurers retire. Rarely. I turned that moment into a cute one by my 6 strength, 4'7" rogue tiefling carrying the taller monk tiefling named Weston out of the dungeon. That's pretty cute. 6 strength too, so you were probably really going. Kind of buckling. I bring you a tale of a party so noble who sail on the stars of very mobile. So, I think we have a bard. Hi, Nubia's sweetest. So we are getting our rock feathers in. You're currently trying to plug the potholes for I find in my Pathfinder 2E's backstory. There's a lot. Oh. I'm waiting for the DM to get to my backstory in our Starfinder camp adventure path. He has a baby on the way, so I don't think that's gonna happen. Yeah, yeah. In real life, he has a baby on the way. I mean, you need to get his priorities straight, right? Who? I have one real baby when you could have a million fantasy babies. Trying to figure out how an orphan girl would have a home and no knowledge of what happened to their parents. Well, let's see, what's some more info about the character? One of your players wanted to play a bard monk that has job stolen as the jester of a king, so he became some sort of janitor, so he had a nemesis. When they eventually did go to that one king, he immediately tried to kill the jester right in front of the king. Kill the guards. He also had really bad rolls. 2 bards with 1 stare. Oh, sorry, this is multiple things. And he was surprised on when he got into initiative alone, which then I asked each one party members, do you want to roll for initiative? And everyone said no. He died pierced by 5 spears. Just jeez. Just 2 bards with 1 austere, so despite being very much able, they barely can see over the table. Small wizard. When a small dragonborn knows the spells of a wizard. Very cute rhymes. Yeah, exactly. Not everyone has to immediately jump into the battle just because one person did. Let's see. We had a great laugh, and he said he'd at least died as a. Yeah, we did one shot where. Oh, let's see. One shot where I had two Bard brothers. You missed that, so much buffing and being dumb. Wasting spells on killing a sub-boss with fireworks to make the killing blow more exciting. That's pretty good. So there's a tiefling Kitsune who thinks that she's just a human and looks like one. She's a rogue, but she's not a criminal. She goes to school in the town, and after a school job at her friend's blacksmith shop, there's a background that lets her see lost spirits. Currently, the best idea is that her parents were friends with the royal lady of the land, and the lady sent some human servants to take care of the girls in their parents' home. I mean, that's a pretty good background already. Yeah, I like that. Right. He's the non-edgy rogue. Yeah, non-edgy rogues are pretty rare. Like, I get into the tavern and I go sit in the dark corner of the bar. Non-raging barbarian one that successfully went through anger management. Went to school, got literate, all that. Alright, so we're gonna do some lightning on the body now. Just on the little feathery, furry part. Get time in the winter to run your barbarian alchemist who gets run out of town for selling bad tonics. Yeah, you're very keen on this character. So there's a bit of a furry part, feathery I guess, part to this Vrock, and then there's like not feathers on the underbelly. The friend of Yuki, whose father hired her, Ricaria on Moonridge. No past Rowan, all her family's alive. She also, except for last session, is morally sound. Last session was the time for her to have a mental breakdown. Yeah. There's a lot of traumatic situations adventurers go into, and then people just go, well, it's fine. So it is reasonable to have a little, you know, PTSD and stuff after everything adventurers tend to go to. It's like, oh, we fought the god of death. Well, who wants to hit the tavern? Is how a lot of adventurers are. I agreed, but should I stay behind like if there's something once in twice? He's afraid of dying. I'll play the whole character with 0 fight, only deception, persuasion, 20 character type. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I always really like when fighting is one option among many, you know. I just feel like that's a very fun way to play. Like, if you can talk your way out of it, why not, basically. Venture to get more powerful sword. You would venture to get more powerful sword. We have ventured to get a magic spatula that always flips things perfectly. Yeah, that was something we did in our D&D campaign, was had basically a whole episode dedicated to having a cook-off in order to get a magic spatula. That we have never used. You once said to a father of a child, "No, I didn't just punch your child and steal his whole gold pouch." The kid had tried to steal from him. That's pretty good. That's the nat 20 at work right there. Like, DC 25. Okay, I have to roll a 19 or a 20 to get this to work. Gaslighting rolls in 5e? Yeah, it's called deception. Oh, if you keep the same lie going, the DC lowers over time. I think that's up to the DM, probably. I'm lightening back up the skull here. Whoops, got a little too much on my brush. That's alright. I can't see particularly well what I'm doing because of the base, but I'm just getting the underside of the skull here. Alright. So, we're getting close to done, because the Vrock is just sort of a big bird guy. He doesn't have clothes or anything. What we're gonna do is the eyes here, and then the base. Yeah, it's demons are all naked. That's the rule with demons. See, we got our imp naked, no clothes, and the Galbrazu naked, no clothes. They're not able to wear pants. They're physically incapable of wearing pants. He's the Galbrazu, Crimson Clapper. So we're gonna do the eyes, and for that I need the black for the socket to start. And then we'll add color on top. So, really don't need much, just like the tiniest dot. I'm taking a very tiny little splotch of black. And we're gonna go into the sort of eye socket. And this will be the under part of the eye, because it's sort of like a skull. So we're filling in the eye socket like that, and then we'll have, oh, thank you for the follow, Tychothus. Yeah, we love having new followers, so welcome. So we're gonna get a skull sort of eye socket like that, and then we're gonna put a little glowing orb into that socket that we make. Since I have the black, I'm gonna get a little tiny bit in the little nostril hole as well. Can't it have magic hollow eye sockets? I mean, it's a demon, it's all magic. Not wanting to work with me. So, what we're gonna do now is clean off this brush. Drop our mini, there we go. You like the Crimson Clapper? Or, I thought it was just Crimson Clapper, I thought there was no the. Taking our bone, sort of Cleaning it up a little here. And oh, you messed up, yeah, and you realized it. I'm lightening up the end of the beak because that's the part that will be most worn down from, you know, picking at the flesh of its enemies and stuff. You use that to change his name to the Crimson Clapper. He has 10,000 points to change the name. So in our streams, if you have 10,000 viewer points, you can name the minis. And who named our Galbrazu here Crimson Clapper? Or you're naming the Vrock the Crimson Clapper? Is that what's happening? So this is still Crimson Clapper, or Galbrazu. But the Vrock is the Crimson Clapper despite only having red on the tongue. Okay. And he named himself. There's quite the backstory to this demon. The whole objective is to make Borb the Prime Minister King. That's your high deception character that you've been talking about? Is that Borb? So we are going to get the eye orb in. Yellow or red? That's the question. Oh, Borb is the prisoner the party found in the current campaign. Okay, so you're gonna turn a prisoner into like the king. That's a noble goal. I think red will show a little better against the bone. Yes, your ranger did become a king. Okay. This is slightly delicate, but let's just be very careful. There we go. So I got a little red orb. It's a little out of focus, but this camera has some autofocus issues sometimes. A little red orb in that socket there. And now I just need to do the same on this side. Okay. There. We have little red glowy eye orbs now. Players like to get attached to random things. Yeah. I mean, so in our campaign, we found a boulette egg, so I've been raising a boulette as a pet. We got a sea otter following us, and I've awakened it, so they are sentient now. We have a sentient otter. Alright, so what I'm gonna do to finish up our Vrock here is paint the base. Obviously the base is very messy right now, so we'll want to clean that up with... I've been doing just a gray for all our demons. A sort of gray base. Just so it's not too distracting. I just need to locate what I did with the gray. We are in the city with eccentric pet owners. It's the capital, so there's a bunch of wealthy nobles who have inadvisable pets. So we'll start with the feet, because that's the hardest part. And I find when doing the bases, the best thing to do is put the paint down away from where you want it to go and push it up into the space. So I'm putting it down out here, and then without lifting the brush up at all, I'm pushing it in between the toes like that. That way you don't really run the risk of hitting it. We might run into another boulette owner, I don't know. Our subscribers have on here on this sub have emote of the boulette sevens. Sevens. Yeah, there he is. I'm gonna get the other foot now. Set this down. Once I get the feet, I can go a little faster on the rest of the base here. So I've gotten the paint around the feet, which means I'm not nearly, going forward, I'm not going to be nearly as risk of painting over my figure here. So I'm just going to get the next hardest part, which is the area underneath the Vrock. Just gently spread the paint out. Like so. We'll get all along the top surface here, and then we'll hit the sides, the edge of the base after that. I'm sure I don't have any wet paint on my fingers. You gotta be careful of that. Okay. That's the top done, and that'll just take some time to dry. So little globs there, we'll just spread those out. And now I'll just hit the edge here. Like so. And then our Vrock will be done. Fun fact about your party right now, you're 2 DMs that switch back and forth, and one of our players wants to try DMing. That's pretty fun. That's a nice way to do it, because a lot of times I've DM'd campaigns that have run years, and you go, I really want to play sometimes too as a character, but you're running your campaign, so that's kind of a nice way to give the DMs a chance to play as well as a character. Not that DMing isn't fun. I do love DMing, but sometimes you just want to hit stuff as a fighter or whatever. Yeah, I like that. It's also a good way to sort of, if you're someone who's interested in learning to DMing, you don't feel like you're stuck running a whole thing if you're not feeling certain. So I like that. So here's our Vrock, the Crimson Clapper, apparently. Yeah. I don't want to play with him too much until he give him a good while to dry, but I think he turned out pretty nicely. And I'm gonna wrap things up here, and we will be back. Greg will be back on Wednesday doing the submarine. He's doing old miniature models on Wednesdays. Otherwise, Mondays and Fridays, around this time, we do our minis. We have like some other minis on the line. We have a Bone Devil, for example. And there's like an Irenes and things like that that are mostly ready to go. So these guys are fairly fresh off the printer, so unprimed right now. But yeah, we'll have some more stuff coming. Yes, the theme these days are demons. It was our DM wanted some demons for some reason that are probably not something to worry. It's probably not something to worry about, but we've been working on demons lately. I recently finished we did an owl bear. Exactly. See, as the person who does a lot of the painting, I get a little insight into things. Yeah. This is Hudifer Barrington, the owl bear. And this is our variant owl bear. Gaius Ursus Bubus. So, our two owl bears are named. But these are our owl bear and bear. Yeah. So, they are named. But we didn't do demons the whole time, but yes, we've done a lot of demons lately and continue to have demons that I shouldn't be worried about. You know, we also did a centaur not that long ago. These are just the ones that haven't been moved from where I'm sitting yet. Pretty much. Oh, and we have a little rust monster. Yeah, centaur. I really like centaurs. A little classic rust monster as well for destroying all your equipment. So, you know, we got some fun stuff that we've done, and all of that's available on our YouTube channel. If you just search Dice and Dungeons on YouTube, you should find us. So if there's anything you're like, oh, I really wish oh, yeah, weird little chat disconnect for a second. I really wish I could see that owl bear being painted. Or you can click the link in our description. Yeah, exactly. A family photo of all the demons. Maybe we'll do that. Yeah, that would be fun. Just like a demon with like one of those like 80s backdrops and stuff where they're all sort of looking in different directions wearing the matching sweaters. That sort of picture. Yeah, I think in the links right below here on Twitch and on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, we should have links to both our Discord, our YouTube channel, our Twitch channel, everything below here, right here. If they're not here, let me know, and I'll try and get that fixed. But they should be like in the About Us or something below the episode, and on Twitch channel here. You know, it's not the biggest Discord yet, but you know, each person makes it a little livelier. So yeah, I don't know if it's under there, but check us out. Go to our YouTube to see any old episodes of Painting You Missed. We also have our D&D campaign there. I think we're in like 95 episodes though, so it is a bit to get through at this point. But it's fun to put on in the background, I think. Yeah, so thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be back on Wednesday. Great, thanks, Lefwis. Yeah, maybe I'll see you on our Discord. Yeah, I guess I'll end there. Have a great Monday, everyone. Hope you have a good week, and we'll see you soon. Bye.